my name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to another YouTube channel video, everybody. I'm so excited to have you all back here together again. Now, in today's video, we're going to be discussing the third part of my movie collection series little thing. We talked about the 80s movies, the 90s movies that I own. Today we're talking about the 2000s movies that I own. So now let's talk about some of the 2000s movies that I own. Alright, so first up we have Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. So I actually just kind of finished, I did another video, but my mom walked in, so I have to redo this. This is a fine movie. If you want to go see my review for it, it's on Letterboxd. But this is a fine movie, kind of forgettable, but enjoyable. Next up we have Monsters, Inc. A great movie with Billy Crystal, and John Goodman as Mike and Sully. Just great duo. But Boo is adorable. The premise is amazing. The music is amazing. This movie is just amazing. Next up we have Ice Age. A pretty good movie that tells a good story with these three characters. They're all likable. Pretty kind of sad with Manny's character, I thought. And the way they kind of brought in the baby in the mix was pretty funny and stuff. These three characters are just funny, and it was just an overall good movie. Next up, we have Spider-Man. One of the best comic book films of all time, because this film literally was like the pinnacle of modern era comic book films. Sure, Blade and X-Men kind of cut the path, but this film was like the peak of modern era comic book films because it succeeded. Because if you look at X-Men and Blade was easily the weakest, and X-Men was the second best, but Spider-Man was that number one because the way it copies the origin story from the comics is great. Tobey Maguire is amazing as Spider-Man, and you care for his character. Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe is amazing. The whole cast is great, and overall, it's just a great story. Next up, we have Lilo and Stitch. A really good movie that I have the same opinion on it like Tarzan, where it's just a really good film, but it's not like Disney's top tier film. But I really do enjoy this film. It is really enjoyable. Stitch is just so likable and really cute. It really has a great theme about family. The soundtrack with Elvis songs are great. The characters are all likable, and the animation is pretty good. So this is actually a really fun and great movie. Next up, we have Stuart Little 2, a really good movie that I think does better than the original film, where the special effects are much better. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that the first one didn't have great effects. This one just does it better. The heights are better. The soundtrack is a little bit better, and James Woods as this Falcon villain is kind of cool. So, and Margot character I thought was pretty nice. So it was just a sweet and charming movie. Next up we have 8 Mile. Pretty good movie about Eminem going through the 8 Mile street and telling kind of his life as this character. I enjoyed it, but it's not the best movie in the world. Oh wait, no. Next up we have Finding Nemo. One of the best Pixar films, in my case, my favorite Pixar film, because the animation is flawless, the characters are amazing, the story is just so good as it leaps back and forth and back and forth. I think that this is the film that does it really well, as it leaps back into Nemo's story. And what makes the film so good is the music. I love the music to this film, and that's kind of it's basically one of those films that it's just perfect. So I love this movie. If you go watch my top 5 favorite movies list, you'll know it's my 4th favorite movie of all time. Next up, we have Hulk. Decent movie. The action's great. The special effects are pretty good. The thriller vibes of it is kind of cool, but it just kind of does a lot of weird ideas where it brings in Absorbing Man, and then it also kind of like makes it into a comic book, which I thought those stuff was a lot better done in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I'm not copying anybody, it's true. It is better in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but overall, this is just a decent movie. But I really do enjoy this film because I grew up with it. Next up, we have Dumb and Dumber. I haven't seen any of the Dumb and Dumber movies. When Harry met Lloyd. I haven't seen any of the Dumb and Dumber movies, so I want to check these out, especially with my dad, since he loves these movies. Next up, we have Mean Girls. One of my favorite movies, just because it's so rewatchable. The cast is great, and it really just kind of evaluates what, like, the whole cast and everything that they're doing. And so, the whole cast is great. It's just perfect the way they do it, the high school stuff. And these actors act like they're in high school, and I love that. So, and I would say that this is probably Lindsay Lohan's prettiest movie. Next up, next up we have Garfield. Pretty enjoyable film. Another film I kind of grew up watching. This is just a very enjoyable film. I don't care what anybody says. It's wacky. It's great. I'd probably give this an A-, just because it's just so much fun. Next up, we have Spider-Man 2. A really good sequel to the original film. I enjoyed it. It's not the best movie. It's not my favorite Spider-Man film, but there's a lot of great things that I thought they did better in this movie. Whether it's the action, the kind of themes with Peter, as what if Spider-Man couldn't be Spider-Man anymore and his normal life was difficult? Like, he lost his job, he was losing jobs and stuff like that, and he wasn't that great in life. And I thought that was I honestly thought that was a great plotline to go with. Never really understood why he lost his powers. The action was great, and that scene with the train is just one of the best scenes of the entire film. So I love this movie. Well, not love it, but I really, really like it. Next up, we have a double feature of Shark Tale and Flushed Away. I'm going to talk about Shark Tale first, since, you know, it's the first one. Shark Tale I grew up with. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of like Monsters, Inc., where I remember watching this movie millions of times every night during summer, a couple, like in 2017. Shark Tale, I did the same thing. It is kind of decent. It is a little bit low on my DreamWorks ranking, but I do like it. And then Flushed Away, as I watched it this year, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best thing ever. It was clever, but like I said, it wasn't the best thing ever. So it was an enjoyable film. Next up, we have Stuart Little 3, Call of the Wild. This is easily the weakest of the Stuart Little films. I don't even know why they made it animated. I don't understand what the whole storyline of this is. I don't even think if it was live action, wouldn't even been good. And even all the other new characters are just not interesting, just kind of awkward, and overall it's just the weakest of all the Stuart Little films. Next up, we have Madagascar. A very enjoyable film. I like the premise. I like all three of these characters played by famous actors, voice actors. The story is okay, I guess, about all four of these animals. It kind of makes sense because animals aren't supposed to be in captivity. They're supposed to be free to roam around whenever they want. They're not supposed to be locked up in a cage. But it was funny at times, definitely rewatchable. I like the trailer better than the movie, honestly, because I see a lot of DreamWorks trailers on like Shark Tale and stuff, and the trailers are better than the movie. I don't know if that's just me. Next up, we have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Tim Burton one, not the original film. Haven't seen this one, and I want to watch some Tim Burton films since, you know, he's a very popular director, and he makes a lot of dark films, but also some dark remakes, especially with the Dumbo one and Alice in Wonderland. Then we have Tristan plus Isolade. I don't really know what this film is, but seems like an action movie, action love movie, because I remember looking this up on Google, and these two people were kissing. So obviously it's probably a love story plus action film. So probably want to check it out if it's free somewhere on Google or something. Alright, I already talked about Flushed Away. Now it's time to talk about Spider-Man 3. This movie has some okay things. I think the entire movie is probably just okay. But at the same time, I think the best thing that it does with it is the characters. Where it kind of, the way it concludes Harry and Peter's arc together, I thought was very well done. But the way they do the Venom storyline and Sandman was just not that great. I think I thought Sandman was a pretty good villain. You understood his motivations and all of that. So, pretty good stuff, but overall just kind of weird in the way that the film was put together. Next up we have Ratatouille. So I actually got this like this past Easter in April, and I haven't opened it because I technically recently rewatched it on Disney Plus because I'm doing this whole rewatching Pixar thing, and I really enjoyed it. It was definitely a film that I really enjoyed. The story is great, the characters are great, the music is great, and overall it's just a great Pixar film. Just go watch my past videos that I talked about with this film. It's great. Then we have Elmo's Christmas Countdown. My favorite Christmas movie of all time's sake. Definitely better than Home Alone, Elf, A Christmas Story, and The Santa Claus. I just think that this movie's amazing. It's definitely up there as like one of my favorite Christmas movies. And the reason for that is that they literally put Sesame Street and Christmas and put it together where they get all the characters together, they make it memorable, and they just make it fun. And I love that. And there's all these funny things that they do with Sesame Street stuff, like the postcards like ABC and 1, 2, 3 for Ben Stiller in jail. Like, that's just hilarious. And then some characters get classic moments. Though, as a TV movie, it does kind of look weird how it's just looking like a storybook. I kind of like that, but I like it. I want it to look like a movie, not really a TV movie. But that's how it was released. It was a TV movie. Next up, we got Sugar, a film that I actually got in August 1st of 2020, like July 31st of 2020, and I love this film. The way it kind of did the relationships with the characters, the baseball stuff, the relationship with the other characters, it was just great, so I love this movie. Next up we got Kung Fu Panda, another great DreamWorks film that I just think handles the premise very well, where you take this crazy premise about a panda doing Kung Fu and makes it one of the best movies of all time. And I think it's just amazing the way they do that. So, really good. Then we got The Incredible Hulk. It's kind of weird that I don't own Iron Man because I love Iron Man 2. Well, I mean, not the second one, but I love Iron Man. But this film, I think, is good. The Hulk action is great. The performances by all the other actors are great. Abomination was pretty good. He was okay. But overall, it's just a pretty good film. Then we got Hannah Montana. I haven't seen this movie or the entire show yet. I've seen episodes of Hannah Montana, though. Trying to speed things up here. Then we got Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. I actually think that this movie is my favorite Ice Age film, just because it's just great. I like the way they introduce dinosaurs into the mix, and they kind of have some character arcs with everything. And then they also have another Ice Age film in here for some reason, where I have actually 2 DVDs of Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, and then I have Ice Age Continental Drift. I don't know. I don't really like this movie. I think that this is the film where the franchise got stupid, honestly. And, yeah. Just not the best movie, but still kind of enjoyable. Especially how they casted Nicki Minaj and, like, Drake in it. So, that's where just the franchise just got stupid. Alright, I have 2 more movies, but I need to look for Paranormal Activity. Because that's technically the next movie. It's over here somewhere. Oh. Here it is. Now see, like I said, some of these movies aren't even mine. I just got them from a bag. But this movie I technically own now. But I will be watching the Paranormal Activities films in the future, because we have another film coming out for Paranormal Activity in the future. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say about Paranormal Activity. And the final film for the 2000s is The Blind Side. Kind of good. You know, it has some good performances with Sandra Bullock. Pretty good movie about family. A pretty good movie about Thanksgiving with family. Just overall really good. But I think it does better as telling a movie about just a family than an actual movie about a real life person. That's just me. But I'm not disrespecting the person who he is in real life. Alright, so that's my entire movie collection for the 2000s. We have one more, and that is 2010's, which will be in the next video I make. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My Instagram is Marvel6 on my TikTok name is MarvelFan. If you guys don't understand those names, head to my about section so you can follow me on all social medias. I am also on Letterboxd, 18 on Instagram, Marvel_6_. Please go follow me on Letterboxd. I have a bunch of stuff on there, and I'll see you guys in the next part, in the final part of this movie collection. Bye-bye.